Claire Vreeland is a senior nursing major at Sacred Heart University. On May 19, 2021, Claire and her classmates will finally graduate after 4 long years of hard work. The seniors in the SHU nursing program have had a particularly difficult last year adjusting to the COVID restrictions on class and clinical.
My mental health has definitely been affected by COVID and classes being put online because it required a lot of modification with studying and a lot of self-discipline in doing lectures self-guided and studying in different ways. And as we go through in the nursing program, the classes get a lot harder. So as a senior, with COVID having classes online, it was definitely more difficult to grasp the content that we needed and understand it all in order to succeed.
Claire and her classmate Rachel Bates had additional stresses to homework and online college life, like not being able to see their families while completing their required clinical hours because of COVID. All the stressful factors of being a nursing student during a pandemic can take a toll on their mental health.
Not going home partly was my choice because I wanted to protect my parents. My dad's high risk for COVID, and I knew that I was going to be working with patients who were high risk, so I didn't want to keep going back and forth between New Jersey and Connecticut. I didn't want to risk not going to clinical because that would have affected potential for graduation. So it definitely was challenging not being able to go home because I did enjoy going home and seeing my family. And as my mental health got worse, usually I would go home and see my parents and it would get better, but I couldn't do that. So it was kind of like a spiral effect.
I like to see my family as kind of an escape from my stress and my emotions. My mom and I are very close, so when I was in clinical, I wasn't able to go home because there was no vaccine yet, and I just didn't want to put that risk on them. So it was really hard for me and my parents not to get to be together during that time.
Senior nursing students were given the opportunity to administer the COVID vaccine at Danbury Hospital in January 2021.
I was able to give 60 vaccines at Danbury Hospital, and it was a really positive experience. It made me feel like I was a part of something that was making a difference, especially during this time of COVID. And I had a really positive impact to all the people I gave my vaccines to. It was really great.
I didn't count the amount of vaccines that I did give, but it definitely was empowering, and I felt like I was making a real difference in people's lives, especially because I was giving it to the patients who were 75 plus, and they had just opened it up for that population, and everyone was coming in and they were so excited, and they would talk about how they could see their grandchildren again. So not only by getting the vaccine I was making a difference, but giving it to that many people was really empowering.
Even before the pandemic, the expectations of being a nursing student at SHU have always been high. In 2019, College Factual ranked Sacred Heart's nursing program in the top 10% nationwide and number 4 in the state of Connecticut. Despite the challenges of the nursing program, the hardest part is over. With graduation right around the corner, the SHU nursing students are studying for the NCLEX exam, which will certify them as registered nurses before they work in a hospital.
It's going to be one of the biggest changes in my life, and I'm going to be caring for people on my own without that kind of supervision and direct person telling me what to do, what not to do. So I do feel prepared, but I'm also very nervous.
There are a lot of emotions that come with transitioning from being a student nurse into a registered nurse position. A lot of it's fear, and a lot of it's excitement for a new chapter. So it's important for nurses to keep good mental health for themselves and then also for their patients, because if we don't have good mental health, then we won't be able to care for our patients as best as we can. It's also important for nurses to make mental health and overall physical health a priority for their patients, and we can't do that if we don't have good mental health.
After graduation, Claire is scheduled to take the NCLEX exam and accepted a position at Yale New Haven Hospital in the medical surgical unit. Claire believes mental health is the key to being a successful nurse.